Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Martin Wenzel. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator, as always. And as always, maybe at some point I'll do something else, but addicted to the flying right now. All right, well, gonna be trying to do this flight again. This is World Tour Flight 234. Did this, well, I don't know, last time, probably Sunday or whenever I had off. Pago, American Samoa, over to Nukuʻalofa, Tonga. We did it in the Boeing 738. We're doing it again in the Boeing 738 from PMDG Simulations. Last time we flew on VATSIM, flew along with Sasha, or fun flight, but yeah, I had some issues on the landing. I did the RNAV for runway 11, and for some reason, going into Tonga, that was... autopilot was a little messed up on that and came in a little high, so initiated a go around and things kind of went south from there. Not sure what happened. I'm gonna have to watch it again, just kind of see like the panels and everything, but looking at it, it made no sense. It suddenly just fell out of the sky. Definitely had the thrust lever all the way up to go around speed, flaps retracted, gear retracted, all that stuff, and then suddenly plummeted out of the sky, lost control, and that was it. So we're gonna try this flight again from American Samoa down to Tonga. It's 486 nautical miles. I think it'll take us about an hour or so. So let's get inside the Samoa Airways plane. This is not a real life flight. In real life, Samoa Airways only has, I think, 3 Twin Otters, I think, are what they have. But we're in the 738. Beautiful livery. I mean, I love this livery. It's really cool. Got the Samoan patterns there on the tail, also on the engines. There, right on. Whatever you call those. Words are escaping me right now. Now let's get inside the plane and get things started. Like we already have the battery on. What I want to check, battery's already on. We have ground power, so we'll turn that on. Window heat going. And we'll do our pre-flight checklist. Now, oxygen tested 100%, navigation transfer, display switches normal and auto, window heat on, pressurization mode selector. They're auto. Flight instruments. Heading and altimeter. That altimeter set. That right there. Yep. 29.85. I'll go with inches for now. Well, we'll switch that over to pascals. Captain Edward, Airbus A220-200. What about it? Is it out yet? Is there a version out? I haven't been paying attention. I don't know how many more planes. I might get the ATR-76, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Alright, parking brake is set. Engine cutoff levers in the cutoff position. Perfect. Pre-flight checklist complete. Let's go up top and kind of run through our things set up. We'll wait on yaw damper, number of these things. We can always test the crossfeed. Valve is open. You also want to do a light test, typically. And when you do the light test, you also want to do this crossfeed check again because maybe the light burned out or whatever. Kind of skip through that. We'll turn on the aft fuel pump. We'll wait on that until we get fueled up. running through, making sure everything is in the right positions. Emergency lights on. Off position. Back's on right now. Fly to Haiti? EPP? Yeah, I've flown there. Sounds familiar that we've flown there on this world tour. That's Haiti. Okay. But yeah, I have flown to that airport. Yep, we've flown there. A while back now. Jump up here, we'll get the alignment going. Let's do a little test. On away again. When I've been doing the test, the numbers have been showing up. Now they aren't. Right, align. Line. We'll go down into flight computer. Got a few things we need to set up. I always need to double check this. Make sure we have the right display going on. Kilos, perfect. Equipment also. Single class. I'll just have more passengers. That looks good. Let's go to FS Actions, Ground Services. We do need fuel truck. Or our fuel down to like. Wish there was a way to like default start your fuel lower. But we're gonna ground service it. And we'll request the fuel truck. Get that there right now. Fuel we need 5270, so we'll just go up to 5300. Throw that in as the target. Back to payload, and we have 103 passengers, so less going on that flight. About 1500 cargo and 1570 on the aft. And our payload is all set. Now GSX can do everything it needs to do. I do believe I have Instagram. I can't remember what it is, though. I'll have to get back at you with that. I don't really use it a ton yet. Maybe at some point I gotta start getting into it. All right. Jump over here to this screen. Jump into the FMC. You can see we got our active April 20th, May 18th, 2023. The air rack cycle 2304. Just updated that, so on that. Reference airport today is November Sierra Tango Uniform. That down. Route goes in there. We're going to November Foxtrot Tango Foxtrot. Flight number 101 today, Polynesian 101. Runway, we're going to be going 05. And everything is set there. We'll get into this route in a moment. Jump back up top. Switch over to nav. I don't know if there's a setting that I'm missing because it instantly gets this lined up, which is a little weird. Alright, let's get our flight clearance.
Refueling truck is on its way. Please don't load aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and ask to do it.
I wonder if you guys can actually hear that. Looks like it's not playing back on my stream anymore for some reason. I wonder how long it's been doing that. Because it was just, I just had the ATC reading back, and I don't think it was
Fuel
playing for
truck
you.
is in position.
How about
Please
that?
don't
Let me
load aircraft
figure that
until
out.
the fuel truck arrives and ask to do it.
Hopefully you'll be able to. I don't know why it reset that. Work all the time, no problem. Off. You should be able to hear the ATC soon, hopefully. Anyway, they gave us a 3,300 for altitude, cleared runway, or cleared to November Foxtrot Tango Foxtrot runway 05, fly runway heading, climb and maintain 3,300 feet, squawk 6547, Polynesian 101. So our runway heading today, head in and then we'll start loading up and everything. Runway heading is 048. Okay. And looks like the fuel truck is finished. Release that and get loading started.
Boarding requested.
Get the flight plan. So we got a direct going to Tango Uniform Tango. I'm actually going to skip that. Well, we'll put that in and then maybe we'll direct. Because just the way we come out of the off the runway, we actually end up just kind of better aiming for one of the first waypoints on the airway. But since I don't know that waypoint, what? Why is that an invalid entry?
Do you want to board crew?
Have this problem. Did they change Airways? What happened? Maybe I had this. I think I had this problem last time. I tried to put the airway in. The airway doesn't work. That's right. And then I just directed everything. Waypoints. Ladron. So we'll probably go direct to Duran once we're up in the air.
Passengers bus is coming.
Kind of a weird path if you could actually go back to VOR for this airport. Yella. Eddie. Departure 5. Arrival is going to be RNAV 11. Eddie 1 Alpha. Gillick is the transition. Jump back to legs. Check everything right. And it does. I go payload, 0 fuel weight, 54.2. 59.6, a little bit high. And now. All right, reserves today. Let's get this set up so we can go as soon as load it up and everything. Reserves 1.0. Cost index of 12. You can see our flight time is 1 hour 22 minutes. Captain Edward, guess what I'm playing on Roblox on the computer? Pilot training flight simulator. I'm flying JetBlue Airbus A220-200. Awesome. Yeah, Roblox. I'm not very familiar with Roblox, but I've seen a little bit. Oh, seems like basically it's like a kind of a sandbox thing where there's a lot of different games that kind of come in there. Very interesting. Wind.
Passengers bus is coming.
Transition altitude I know is 13,000, not 18,000. And I'm gonna go over to my calculator and our performance. Okay, so it looks like a 42 degrees. The outside air temperature, selected outside air temperature. And we're going to do a 24 kd rate. And up to takeoff. We're going to go flaps 1. And our Q&H V1 speed is 137 on the calculator, so plane's giving us a little bit higher. We'll go with that. That might even adjust once I put in this wind. Actually, wind is calm. 0 and 0. Oops. Actually, I just learned this on the charts, or one of the charts that has it. I just learned on the charts where you see the slope, and now I can't remember where it is. Find it. Okay, it's not the biggest deal. Also not a crazy slope or anything on this run. Let's go back to my calculator, and we have 1100 for that engine out. Almost seems like it's the fault at this point. Okay, and up to the top here, we want to put in 50 for our landing altitude. Get our cruise of 38,000 pressure in there, and good. Let's get the APU going since passengers are coming on. We want to get that air conditioning running. Passengers are all on. But there might be another bus coming, like sometimes, depending on how many passengers you have. Okay, looks good. All we need. Basically the same. That's it. So, put on our legs page. Down in here. Fuel. Should be coming up. This, we can go APU 10. Seatbelt signs on. Okay. Get this trim in 5.59. Right, for that little ding, that means everything is buttoning up. Double check the doors. Closing. Perfect. Ground services, let's go over to APU power first. Turn on that anti-collision light. And now we can release the ground power. And I made sure to get those APU generators on. I have forgotten that in the past, and that leads to a few issues.
Cellular Tower, Polynesian 101. Request pushback and startup. Polynesian 101, pushback and startup approved. Pushback and startup approved. Polynesian 101.
Alright, so now we're just waiting for the back tug to get over here. There. Tug gonna come over too? The tug works its way into position as well, doesn't it? Alright, before start checklist, flight deck door closed and locked.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Fuel. 5.3 thousand kilos and pumps on. Passenger signs on. Windows locked. MCP, we have the V2 is going to be 145.
Departure checks completed.
Heading 48,
Bypass
altitude
pin inserted.
3300. Takeoff speeds V1 139, rotate 140, V2 145. Check. CDU pre-flight complete. Rudder and aileron trim free and zero. Taxi and takeoff briefing not quite completed. Anti-collision light on. Let's do a quick taxi brief here. We're gonna push back to where I kind of don't want to push back too far this way, run into that Asia Pacific. We're gonna push back and then we're going to taxi out on Delta, then into Alpha, take Alpha all the way down. We're holding point at runway 5.
Locking gear.
We're gonna take off on our runway heading, climbing to 3300. Then we will make a turn. Our first point is Tango Uniform Tango, but I think we will direct to Drawn. Otherwise it'll be kind of a tight turn back, right back to the airport. And we'll climb out to Drawn and be at our cruise around there. Quick edit push. That's about all we really need.
Exiting from editing.
Release parking brakes. Release parking brakes. Commencing
chocks.
push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Alright, all engines clear. Now left ignition. Starting engine 2. Left and right packs off. Pressure should equalize so that it can start the engine. Go. We're already up to 20, so fuel cutoff switch idle.
Parking brake.
Our best option for an engine. Okay, well, it looks like GSX just crashed on me. That doesn't cause any problems. And hopefully once we get on the ground in Tonga, we can GSX will be ready to go. I just got a message on my screen saying it need to restart or something. I don't know what the heck. Fuel cut off to idle for engine 1. Gen 1 for our power. Our pack's back on. APU bleed can come off. APU can come off. And we'll get the taxi lights on.
Valley Alert Tower.
Probe heat on.
Polynesian 101. Request taxi. Polynesian 101. Taxi to holding point. Runway 05. 5 Delta Charlie Alpha. Taxi to holding point. Runway 05. Via Delta Charlie Alpha. Polynesian 101.
Alright, before taxi checklist, generators on, probe heat on, anti-ice as needed. Don't need it. Isolation valve, auto. Engine start switches, all checked, auto brake, RTO. Engine start levers, idle detent, flight controls. Flight control check right here. Elevator, full right, aileron, left, and rudder, left, right, and neutral. Flight control checked. Or taxi checklist complete. I think we're on Charlie now. That's why we got that Delta Charlie Alpha taxi. Speaking of Charlie Alpha, almost missed it. Guy come from. Now we're on Alpha and we're going the right way. Almost went out direct to the runway and we would have been doubling back on the runway the whole length. Runway today, 10,001 feet, 3,048 meters. Plenty of runway for takeoff. That's why we only need a flaps 1. A little flex takeoff, 42 degree flex temperature takeoff. Selected assumed temperature. Allows us to use a lot less power for the takeoff, 91.6%. And you'll hear this in real life. They'll be taking off, and then once you get to a certain altitude, actually you'll hear the engines kick in more for the climb, because the climb typically is a higher usually uses about 100% of the thrust. Weather's a lot nicer here in American Samoa than it was, I believe, on Sunday. Pretty cloudy, and I think there was a lot of, we weren't getting any rain as we were taking off, but definitely a lot of cloud and fog. Tonga was fine. For some reason, just on the go around the plane, I just lost all power. I don't know what happened. Thought we were in proper configuration for go around, but I guess not. It's such a helpless feeling at that point because there's not much you can do. We weren't even, we were just climbing out on that go around, and that's one of the most dangerous areas. Again, takeoff, landings, go arounds are the most dangerous parts of a flight because you're so close to the ground and you're at a low speed. Potential for stalling, and yeah, we immediately stalled out because, and I don't know if it was the auto throttle, maybe I armed the auto throttle and that kind of messed things up. Flight director on auto throttle, but alright, let's get the flaps in position 1. Alright, before takeoff checklist, flaps 1, we are waiting for the green light. Stabilizer trim 5.59. Green light on the flaps. Before takeoff, checklist complete. Interesting checklist because there's also other things we need to do, like peek as the Tara, or whether our radar is on. And once we're ready for departure,
Polynesian 101, runway 05, ready for departure. Polynesian 101, line up, runway 05. Line up, runway 05, Polynesian 101.
things like setting up your lights. Checklist can be an interesting thing where you have like, and in reality that's what checklists are for. Checklists are for those big safety things. For example, flaps. What do we check on there? Flaps and our trim. Well, those are going to be big for your takeoff. If the lights aren't on, you'll be in trouble. Like, oh, you didn't follow procedure right. Those are your flows. Checklist is always going to be a safety thing. That's why some of these checklists will have like one thing, but you should know that there's like 15 other things you actually do need to have set up as well. But it's just making sure you got that one thing. Is your landing gear up or down or whatever, right?
Runway 05, cleared for takeoff, Polynesian 101.
Right. gear up.
Polynesian 101, contact Auckland Oceanic Center 120.1. Contact Auckland Oceanic Center 120.1, Polynesian 101. Valley alert approach, Polynesian 101 at 1,100, climbing 3,300.
Polynesian 101, radar contact, proceed direct Tango Uniform Tango, continue climb, flight level 130.
Proceed direct Tango Uniform Tango, continue climb, flight level 130, Polynesian 101.
Hey, Mika. Yeah, so here's the example where they want us to go direct to Tango Uniform Tango. So we'll follow that. It immediately skips it actually and goes right to drawn. So I'm gonna just do a heading bit. Ricker09, hey, welcome in. First time. Got my new Thrustmaster Airbus setup. Awesome. I'd love to have the Airbus one for when we're flying the Airbus, and then I'd love to have the Boeing TCA for when we're flying the Boeing. That'd be really cool, but not in the budget right now. Right now tomorrow I'm going to be doing a discovery flight or intro flight with ATP flight school, so that's kind of the focus right now, is kind of stacking up a little cash for that, or for possibly doing flight school and going the real life flying route, and then once if I do that, then it'll be probably a couple years, at least 2-3 years, and then I'll start making real money, and maybe the budget will loosen a little bit, and I'll be able to get more toys to go with a flight simulator. Right over the airport took off from. A nice flyover of a beautiful island here, American Samoa. but that's tomorrow. Doing the intro flight, discovery kind of flight. See if it's because the big thing if you want to do flight training, it's like, well, you're gonna be spending a lot of time in smaller plane, and if you can't do the smaller plane, you know, it's gonna be a real rough time building up those hours and doing all that training before you get to the point where you get into a jet. Because flying is a lot different when you're in the cockpit than when you're in the passenger, especially in the back of like a Boeing, you know, a 777 or something. It's a lot different than being in a Cessna or in the cockpit of any of these planes. That's tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. A little nervous, but I think it'll be first step.
101, climb and maintain, flight level 220.
Climb and maintain, flight level 220. Polynesian
Level 220.
101.
Headed to John, and then we'll be on our way on Airway Bravo 757 or 575. 575. Weren't able to put it in on the flight plan for some reason, so I just put in the waypoints, but bunch of straight shot down to Tonga along this airway. Basically the highway, Bravo 575 is the airway between American Samoa and Tonga. We're also in this awkward part of the world where on most map programs, like I'm trying to zoom in on my maps and stuff, and when I do it, it jumps me all over the world because we're right at that point where the map actually cuts off. I mean, it looks like a continuous map, but it actually is one map, and it just repeat it because, of course, you're globe, and so right at that point where we're at that separation where maps are cut, the maps I guess cut at the international date line, digital maps. It's a little awkward because you're trying to dealing right with that area. Hey, crossing 19,000 feet. Flight level 190. Pressurization looks good right there. And this was something I screwed up multiple times when I was flying back in X-Plane in the Zibo 737-800. You didn't have this set. It would actually simulate, and I don't know if it would do this here in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it would in X-Plane actually simulate you starting to black out. Like the screen would start going black, warning light would start just blaring, and I could never figure it out, and then eventually I would just completely black out, and that was it. You couldn't really do anything about it. Unless you turned off that setting in X-Plane, but it was really cool because you didn't have the pressure set right, so your artificial environment, you didn't have the right ground pressure within the plane. You can't survive at 38,000 feet without the right pressure in the tube. Hey, climbing at 25,000, flight level 250. And since we have some time, I'm gonna punch in a few things for the final approach. Final course is gonna be 108. That in here for the RNAV. So minimums. Minimum is going to be 430. That in on the barometer on baro. Baro is going to be your altitude on these minimums. Oh, pull the chart up.
Polynesian 101, climb and maintain. Flight level 340, contact Auckland Oceanic Centre 120.1.
Climb and maintain. Flight level 340. Contact Auckland Oceanic Centre 120.1. Polynesian 101.
So you can see the minimum right there, 430. That's what we have on right there, baro 430. Right below the chart. Now, this other one, this 338 in parentheses, that is actually your height. That's our actual height above the runway, above the threshold. We'd use that in radio, radio, I guess. But this one's like your, the 430 is your altitude, which is above sea level. This is actually above the runway. It's 338, so there's a, what, about a 90-foot difference, and that's because there's the runway 90 feet above sea level. That's why our height. That's pretty easy to figure that out. Let's see some other things we got to look at. Missed approach. We're going to track course 108 to Dorney, mandatory 2,500 feet. We have done this before, and last time I did it, I kind of crashed right out there. Because it's just not sure what happened. Transition altitude 13,000 feet. Level, flight level 150. Now, transition level, I believe, is when we go from saying flight level to feet. Transition altitude is where we switch the QNH to the ground pressure at the airport, reported pressure. Let's see, we got LNAV, VNAV, valid minimum temperature, plus 12 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit. Use of remote QNH not available. Use Fuaʻamotu altimeter setting. The visual here, we're going to be coming in Kilek, Lurga, at Lurga. We're going to turn on the course, final course, and at Tango Foxtrot 762, that's where it can be our capture point for the slope of 3 degrees. And that height altitude is going to be 1740. And the cross section, 1740 right there. Actually, we're going to start descending. This is just 1 point. I'm not sure what this means when you have it in the middle of the slope already. Kind of a checkpoint, I guess. And we have our another visualization of the go-around, 108-degree course to Dorney, mandatory 2,500 feet. Again, straight-in landing. Minimums if we're using LNAV and VNAV, 430 if we're just using LNAV, and we're not using autopilot and VNAV for our altitude. Actually, a little bit higher for the minimum. We will be using VNAV, so 430. That's all we need. Also check out the star chart, the standard terminal approach route. The RNAV for Nukuʻalofa, Tonga, effective October 2011. This chart's from October 2018. And see all the different, we're looking at Kedi 1 Alpha, so that's on this chart. There it is, Kedi. I'm in course 109 degrees to Ohita, continuing on. 2,500 is the floor. You're aiming to get to that point by Lurga, Kilek. Not a lot of and not much information. Some you'll have a ton of your speed restrictions and other stuff like that. Altitude. Looks like the only one on there is 2,500 as the floor. Back to range waypoint. Looking good on fuel, we'll have 2,000 kilos on landing. Should be enough. What did we start with? We started with 5,300. At what point, if we had to go back, because we have no alternate, so our alternate would be where we came from. That kind of concerns me a little bit because, what, 5.3, 5 by 2, 2.6, 6.5, 7, 2.7. So we technically would need to, somewhere in between Ogula and Eketi, we need to decide if we're turning back, otherwise we fuel for the return trip, I would guess. Wonder if SimBrief did that because I don't think it. Yeah, it actually didn't give me the alternate. That's why we don't have enough fuel to get back to. Because I didn't set the alternate as. I should have just set the alternate manually. SimBrief will sometimes do this where it can't find an alternate. It's weird because it should. It should just say go back to. Typically, if there's no other alternate, it will just be where you took off from. If you're able to take off, you should be able to land weather-wise. Of course, in real world, we would also be checking the weather in advance, you know, all this. Tango Foxtrot. November. But we shouldn't have any problem. Let's see. MEDAR is VFR, 25 degrees, a few clouds, 13 knot wind out of 90 degrees. That will be coming. We'll be flying into that. We'll be going to from our left slightly. Didn't have too much trouble on. Unlimited visibility, ceiling, no ceiling, just a few clouds at 1,500 feet. So, perfect for landing, no big deal. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have about a 4 knot crosswind, 12 knot headwind. Be much of it. Nice to have a day off here. 5 days. 5 days in a row working. I mean, that's not even that much, though. Typically, it's... a lot of times I'm working 7, 8 days in a row. But nice to get back in the cockpit here, the virtual cockpit. Not sure if I'll do the next flight time for that next one's about 2 hours, so probably this will be the only flight this morning and possibly today because we got to head out and do some errands. Got to get the car, get an airbag replaced in the car. There's an airbag recall or something. Got to do that. Go out to eat then. And we got to get over to the stop about 11 o'clock in the morning here. Time we land, it should be getting close to 9. Definitely not enough time for that next flight. fun. All right. Hey, how you guys doing? All right, getting close to the top of descent. Or right on top of it.
Polynesian 101,
Perfect.
expect East 1 Alpha arrival, collect RNAV, approach, runway 11, report when ready for descent.
Expect 1 Alpha arrival, collect RNAV, approach, runway 11, report when ready for descent, Polynesian 101.
Ready for descent. Let's go.
Polynesian 101, ready for descent.
We're ready for descent. Obviously, the plane is saying we're in descent. Obviously, realistically, we wouldn't start descending until we got the clearance, but it's actually descending a little sooner than it needed to there. Because they're kind of ignoring us now. Never ready for descent, now it's gone. Radio silent. See a few islands right in front of us there. That is Alpha. That's the name of the islands, but yep, coming up on some of the islands here in Tonga. We already passed one actually behind us. The bigger. There. Distance. So ready for descent and never turned off the seatbelt signs for the passengers. Poor guys, they can't. Never were able to use the restroom. It's a bigger deal if you're using something like PAC-X. Or PAC-X really cares about that, but I think self-loading cargo, he had that set up to pay attention to stuff like that. I wish I have to figure out how to get self-loading cargo to work again. And on the stream so you guys can see it and it looks good. That's really cool. PAC-X is really solid, but I think self-loading cargo has a little bit more to it. I don't think it's a one-guy operation over there, self-loading cargo, and I don't know how much.
Polynesian 101,
This is a bummer.
descend and maintain flight level 290.
Descend and maintain flight level 290, Polynesian 101.
9-0. We already got 27,000 in. Game. Hit descent, pressurization, our landing altitude. That to 150. Auto brake. Go with auto brake. Auto brake 2 should be enough. Laps 30, 1-3 for RV ref. Have our minimum set. And we did the approach briefing a little bit earlier. Kind of look at some other things. Once we'll kind of just do another rundown. So again, we'll come into Kilak, about 2,500 feet at Lurga, and then in at Tango Foxtrot 760 at 1740, continuing that 3-degree glide in landing. Minimum is 430. We have that set right down here. Yep, 430. Go around, continue on course, runway course 108, out to Dorney, and then go into hold. Wait for clearance for attempting another approach. Transition altitude 13,000 feet. Go from flight levels feet at a flight level 150. Don't have anything to put into radios. Why don't we put in the VOR 114.5 backup. Once we land, we're gonna with that auto brake, we should be able to get slowed down and exit at Bravo, which will take us right to our parking spots and try to figure out how to park once we get there. Smaller airports are a little confusing. I believe this is where we need. I think we need to park over. In that VOR 114.5. VORs are in. Coming up on 27,000 feet or flight level 270. But descending according to the plane. The in-game, or not the in-game, well, the in-game ATC, but also here I'm using FS HUD ATC in the background. You guys can't see it, but I get a visual and everything as well of what they're calling out. And as anything, AI ATC can leave a little bit slow on descents and all that.
Polynesian 101, descend and maintain flight level 240.
You see right there, it's finally giving us 240.
Flight level 240.
Typically when I follow the in-game ATC or anything that's artificial intelligence ATC, you know, the computer giving me ATC, I tend to get behind that on the descent, whereas Vatson Tech typically does a little bit better. To be honest, I'm just not very good at figuring out how to get the plane to descend rapidly. I'll throw out all these, the spoilers and everything, and it's, you get to a certain point and you're stuck at 220 knots when you need to be down at 140 for your approach. You just cannot get slowed down no matter what, barring just extending your leg approach. We're actually on a direct line with OR right now. Yep, that actually makes sense because the airway, just follow the airway all the way in and it would take you right to the airport. Now, it wouldn't take us on our course for our runway though, but that's why you can see the arrow is perfectly lined up because we are aiming directly at the VOR on the airway. So, if we were flying VORs.
Polynesian 101, proceed direct correct, cleared X1 Alpha, arrival.
Hey, direct to kill.
Cleared 1 Alpha, arrival Polynesian 101.
Feel like they want us at 37, 39. The plane is now going to catch up. Speed, we're going to get down, you know, and it's got the speed that it wants to be at.
Polynesian 101, descend and maintain. Flight level 150, contact Fuaʻamotu. Approach 118.5.
Speeds 186 once we get to Lurga. When we're at Tango Foxtrot 762, 143, 1740. So that's our approach. That's our Our VREP is 138, so that's +5, perfect actually, that's exactly what we want. Want that wind correction of +5 knots. I guess that probably would change if I would switch what flaps I want. We're actually looking pretty good. Again, that little pink triangle, we're just above 250 knots, so we're looking good on speed as well. You can also see the VOR, so we got the VOR in because we have the course set to 108. There's our final approach course. Well, I think if you actually look at the charts, if we were to do here's the VOR chart. But if we were to do a VOR, we'd actually want that course on 112. I suppose it looks like to get to the runway based on the VOR. But again, we're not doing the VOR, we're just doing the RNAV, so put the VOR in there if necessary, if needed. Kind of tell it. Maybe that green dotted line. Whatever course. So, I mean, if you're doing a go-around, for example, you need to cross certain radial at a different VOR too. You'll have crossing VORs, or even the same VOR, but you're on a radial, a different radial. Make course. It's pretty interesting when you can set it up that way, and the PMDG does a very good job of showing it. I can't remember if the Airbus does as well. I think it does. Fly-by-wire. I haven't done a lot of VOR stuff lately, though. All right, we're going to go standard pressure. Pressure in airport is 1013. Taking us all the way down to flight level 150. That's our transition level. Once we get past 150, then they'll start calling out 12,000, 13,000, 12,000, 10,000, all that hard descents. Coming up on the old waypoint, we're just going direct past it, but Ogita, coming up on Ogita. Again, Killick, where plane is planning us to be at 3739. Going to require some drag. That speed down. I'm going to keep going off of the plane call, or what the plane is planning, the VNAV. We're not falling behind. Like a little bit more cloud cover than the MEDAR was giving us. think that's 1,500 feet either. A few clouds. Doesn't look like that much to worry about. Great.
Polynesian 101, descend and maintain 6,000, QNH 1010.
Descend and maintain 6,000, Polynesian 101.
Keep an eye out for this afternoon. I might be able to do that flight. I'll be flying a Jetstar in the fly-by-wire A320, the A32NX, the Airbus A320neo, and I'll be flying from Tonga over to the Cook Islands. Just under 2-hour flight. Back in the Airbus. See how that goes. Just about 10,000 feet. Sure what the holdup is. I like to put a few lights on, especially since it's day, we don't need to light ourselves completely up, but I like to put a few lights on at 10,000, then I'll put the rest once we get our landing clearance. Gonna be going 2,500 feet for our go around. So once we get to that point where we hit our grow altitude, remember it is 2,500 feet. Baumricker, I'm already here, by the way. Okay. Thanks for being here. Yeah, glad you're here. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Comment on the videos, especially on YouTube. If you also watch on Twitch and you do anything on Twitch, give me a follow over there, and that helps out a lot. Can't promise a schedule or anything. It's kind of right now whenever I can, but I hope you're come along for the journey and jump on in whenever you're able to, and whenever I'm on, just say hey and talk about whatever you're up to talk about, and I'll keep you updated. Like I said, tomorrow I'm doing a discovery flight for ATP flight school, and possibly looking at and trying to make the decision if that's going to be the future plan here. I'm 30, gonna be, what? Am I gonna be this year? 36, I think, this year? Gonna be 36 this year in October. So it's kind of getting to that crunch time where if I want to do something like going and being an airline pilot, making a career of that, it's got to be not, it's, I mean, this is kind of the average age, actually, where a lot of people get into that. Well, he's looking for me, but I'm working on landing here. So probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Polynesian 101, descended, maintain 1,500.
Descended, maintain 1,500. Polynesian 101.
I hopefully get the speed down in Tonga.
Polynesian 101, proceed direct lookout.
Proceed direct lookout. Polynesian 101.
There's the runway. I skid, auto brake 2, we're starting to deploy the flaps. Flaps 1. Limiter set. 1010, approach, checklist complete. Landing checklist. Engine start switches, shot. V-brake armed, landing gear. Okay, waiting. Flying.
Polynesian 101, clear honors, approach at 1,500, runway 11, report established final track.
landing gear down. Flaps 25. And flaps 30. Okay, so this is the last time I went on the approach and following the glide path or whatever, it brought me in high. And we need to be at 1740, right about here. We're doing good. I remember the diamonds last time. These fixed lights turned on once we get the clearance for landing.
Polynesian 101, wind 100 degrees at 13 knots, clear to land 11.
Cleared to land 11, Polynesian 101.
You can see right on the bottom there, it's the PMDG Boeing 737-800. A lot better for our approach.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
There, felt a little drifting a little high.
Sync rate. 200. 100. Sync rate. 30. 20. 10.
Polynesian 101, when vacated contact ground 121.9er.
When vacated contact ground 121.9er, Polynesian 101.
Not a lot of room at this airport with the big New Zealand right there.
Commercial ground, Polynesian 101, runway vacated.
Polynesian 101, taxi 2, parking 3.
Taxi 2, parking 3, Polynesian 101.
Zero suitable parking.
The requested position is already assigned to another aircraft.
Go loop in there like that. Alright, we got the taxi lights on. Let's get APU started. like about a 300 feet per minute landing. Well, firm landing there. I'd agree with that. Want to get it on the ground. We're kind of floating. We have two. I guess this is probably coming with the airport, and this is probably GSX. Maybe GSX will gripe at us. Alright, let's get that AP on. Off engine. Kill chock set and ground power requested. In the boarding passenger.
The boarding requested.
Bombs off. Come off. Off. I do have ground power. I didn't turn ground power on. That's what causes the problem there.
Passenger's bus is coming.
While we wait for the passenger bus, let's check out Volanta and check out Light. Great shot, no real issues. Actually, landing looked like we were going to come in a little too high. But much better than last time where we ended up crashed in go around. There you go, 303 feet per minute at 127 knots. A little bit firm landing. Out on the ground. Loaded a little bit. Could have touched down right around there. A little bit late, but parked, and that's all good. Check out the world tour map. Everywhere we've been so far, and we're over here in this part of the world. You can see American Samoa flag. American Samoa right there, and here's Tonga. I believe we're down here on the southern part of it. Next time we'll be flying over to the Cook Islands. Not the Cook. Literally on the other side of the map. Over there, there's the Cook Islands. That's where we're flying next time. It'll be about a 2-hour flight. We'll possibly do that this afternoon. Or, hopefully do it this afternoon. Otherwise, it'll be till the next time I have off from work. There's a passenger bus.
Passengers, the boarding starting.
I'm guessing we could probably set it up. Maybe even over there. I'm have to see if that gate, if they walk out from the terminal. That'd be pretty cool. Instead of having to go on a bus. Well, thanks for coming along on this flight. Like I said, next flight we'll be going over the Cook Islands. Keep an eye out, maybe this afternoon, this evening, for that flight. But until then, have a good day and good week, and happy flying in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I'll see you next time.